one should always think about have a long-term vision, then
शॉर्ट टर्म
short-term ROI calculation.
और हम लोग हमेशा शॉर्ट टर्म में रह जाते हैं
हाँ.
कि अरे
When you're young, you tend to make that mistake. तभी मैंने जो बात आपसे बोली ना कि पहले सलाह करने वाला जो होता है.
हाँ गाइडेंस
So one of the best things which I like about Indian culture and especially North Indian families and Baniya culture is that यहाँ पर सलाह का concept है, which was not a concept in my family. I come from a Punjabi family. यहाँ पर इतना guidance के लिए पूछना या ये नहीं है. यहाँ पर ego बहुत ज़्यादा रहती है and people are very independent that way.
हाय गाइस, माय नेम इज ऋतिक और आज हम हैं द्वारका में सुकृति डांग के घर में, जो कि है प्रोग्राम मैनेजर एट ऑन, जो कि कंपनी प्रोटीन पाउडर बनाती है. एंड अगर आप जिम करते हो तो आपको इस कंपनी के बारे में, ऑप्टिमम न्यूट्रिशन के बारे में बहुत ही ज़्यादा पता होगा. एंड थैंक यू सो मच सुकृति फॉर होस्टिंग अस. राइट, वी लव टू अंडरस्टैंड अबाउट योर बैकग्राउंड एंड कैसे लैंड करा ये जॉब. एंड also we'll also going to talk about your life and also want to know how much you're making right now and a lot bit more about your professional life, right? So Sukriti, if you could just start with your background and give us a little bit more about your family background, so we'll start this podcast.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, you've already introduced what I'm doing currently.
Yeah.
My name is Sukriti and my father was in the army. So that's why I could do my schooling from 8 different schools across the country. So I've not stayed at one particular place throughout my, schooling.
Okay.
So yeah, mixed sort of a upbringing. हर जगह में को इंडिया के different corners में रहने को मिला. I did my engineering from Government Central Textile Institute, Kanpur. And post that, I pursued my MBA from Institute of Rural Management, Anand. I worked a little bit with Amol. Then I worked for a company called Accenture Management Consulting. Post Accenture Management Consulting, I went to VMware. And post VMware, I am working right now with Glanbia Performance Nutrition.
And you know what, Sukriti? It excites me to understand from a sales manager at Amul, right, now to Accenture, then like now you are heading like 5 time zones, right, at Optimum Nutrition. बहुत interesting है ये. And want to understand how you switch your career and how it's possible, like कैसे possible हुआ? How are you able to get these kinds of roles?
Absolutely, yeah. Let's start with it. So during my MBA at IRMA, I was doing my last bit of internship, or that's called management traineeship segment. That happened at Amol. And so I'm from PRM 36, the 36th batch of IRMA.
Okay.
And I was amongst the first 2 people to get a pre-placement offer from Amul in the entire history of IRMA.
And कौन सी year की बात है?
That this is from 2015 to 2017. My MBA was there. So this happened back in 2017.
Oh, nice.
So 2017, I got placed at Amul and I was the area sales manager, or there they like to call it officer in charge of dairy division at Lucknow branch. And in Lucknow, I used to manage around about 80 distributors, 6 sales people I had with me, 3 territory sales in charges, and the area was all the way from Lucknow till Nepal border. So, you've got places like Bahraich, Barabanki, Gonda, Dumariaganj, all these places. So, big portfolio, around 24 plus SKUs. To 24 plus products, and around about 120 SKUs were there, which I used to manage. And the portfolio was around 250 crores INR per the annual
sales.
Annual sales was 250 crores. Out of that, major chunk was powders. आपने देखा ही होगा in this entire UP belt, which is a little bit of a drier belt.
Correct.
यहाँ पर powder बहुत बिकता है, which is
milk powder,
and Amul spray. So Amul spray was our the biggest chunk it used to form over there.
Okay.
So I did almost close to 2 years at Amul. And then my husband, he wanted to shift out here. And by the way, my husband was also working for Amul post our MBA.
You got placed together.
I got placed first. He got placed after me. Even though he's one of the top 3 or 4 people of the batch.
Okay.
But yeah, he took, he tried to get into Amul because I had already gotten an offer from Amul.
Okay.
So he was posted at Kanpur. I was at Lucknow. And because his parents were here in Delhi, he always wanted to move to Delhi because he's the elder son. Out of 2 sons, he's the elder one, and he's quite close to his parents. So that was always the end goal, right? For us to move back to Delhi, or us to move to Delhi, not back for him to Delhi, and me for move to Delhi. And so he got placed into a company called Glenmark Pharma.
Okay.
And it is one of the largest pharma companies. And once he switched there, luckily, I cleared UGC NET. So that is, and I wanted to try my hand at teaching. So I resigned from Amul, and I took a break. I won't call it a break. It was not a break because I was working mostly. So, but I wanted to try out how does this lecturership pan out.
Okay.
I interacted with a lot of people over here across different colleges, and I found that to be a little bit not fit for me because it was a repetitive thing, right? And in that while, because my resume was already on Naukri, and I knew a lot of people, so Accenture talent acquisition team called me up, and they had openings for my kind of a profile, like a core FMCG profile. They wanted someone to come and do their route to market project.
Okay.
So I appeared for one interview with Accenture, and I think the manager was happy with what I had done at Amul and the way he wanted somebody to be placed in that particular project for one of the leading FMCGs of leading MNCs, who's operating as one of the leading FMCGs of this country.
Got it.
So they had a project for them. I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to name the names of FMCGs.
But I understand.
So confidentiality clauses of Accenture. So they took me for this role, and August 2019, that was my first day. 6th of August 2019 was my first day at Accenture Management Consulting. I joined as a analyst at an analyst level. And
which year is this?
2019.
2019, you joined Accenture after leaving Amul.
After leaving Amul.
How was the experience after leaving Amul and joining Accenture?
So Amul, I was doing field sales, right? And I had to travel a lot to even rural hinterland kind of places, the places which I named, right? Gonda, Behraj,
and these is not having the connectivity.
Not at all. And over there, good that you brought it up. Seeing a woman leading a company's is a little bit cultural disconnect aa jata tha yahan par. So just bringing my distributors to a comfort level that I am here not to boss you around, I'm not here to increase your work, I'm just here to act as a partner and help you grow your business. That took a lot of time. वो comfort level build करते करते ही वो उनकी language में बात करते करते. So I'm a Punjabi. And I'm a little taller than the rest of the females, average Indian females. So for them, the first point used to be like, "Arey, ye lambi si, ye kaun aap yahan par," and all that. So वो build करने में trust और वो build करने में comfort time थोड़ा लग गया वहाँ पे. Comfort zone build करने में time लगा. And
usually a lot of, it's very strange. A lot of time, a female actually will not going to opt for this area sales.
Yeah.
Where you need to go to the offline stores and talk to them and talk to distributors. It's really nice, and I really appreciate that.
So sales and distribution was a subject in our final year of 2 years of it. Also final semester mein wahan par tha. And I really used to like that subject. And sales is something which I was very fond of. So stepping back a little bit, I did my engineering from in textile chemistry. So I was working with a yarn manufacturing company called Sanatan Textiles Private Limited. It's a Mumbai-based private company. And that's back in 2012 when I passed out from engineering. And I was working as a sales executive as well as a production planner for them because the size of business was a little limited. So sales executive ka bhi kaam kara maine wahan par. The suiting and shirting yarns, like the shirt which you're wearing right now, this has a yarn, polyester yarn hota hai.
I come from a textile background. I understand.
Okay, you understand it.
I come from a textile background, so I understand ये shirt कैसे बनता है, yarn कैसे आता है, वो stitch कैसे होता है.
तो ये polyester वाली company है, polyester yarn बनाते हैं, FDY and TY आपको fully drawn yarn.
Then there's a color code.
Yes, exactly. So CRM, Grasim, Reliance, उस time ये मेरे executive clients होते थे. I used to deal with them for suiting, shirting.
Got it.
So that was when I grew this penchant for B2B sales. तो मेरे को अच्छा लगा ये काम करना, and I had got a very good mentor at that time, my boss at Sanatan Textiles. So he sort of showed me the tricks of trade. I learned the ropes from him. Ki kaise, how do you do B2B sales and these things. And alongside, I was also doing production planning for my portfolio, right?
Just to add on it, I just want to understand how was the family reaction on that? Dude, you're working as a sales person and doing the offline sales and everything. How was the parents' reaction? Parents are always little protective, right?
Yeah.
They're like, in banking mein kar lo, kuch office based kuch job kar lo. How was their reaction?
Okay, let's step back a little bit then. So I always wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
Class 6th onwards, मैंने brilliant tutorials का foundation course होता था. Yeah, like you come from edtech, right? तो आपको education का
Correct.
idea होगा. So 6th में foundation course आकाश और brilliant ने उस time चला दिया था.
ठीक है.
6th में मैं कौन सी क्लास में हूँ? कौन सा year होएगा ये? It would be 2003, 4 ऐसे ही होएगा ना?
ठीक है.
नहीं, 8 to 12 तो मेरी engineering
हुई थी.
So 8 से आप minus कर लो.
ठीक है, whatever.
So 2002, 2001, 2002 में मेरा foundation course शुरू हो गया था. And I wanted to be a doctor, fully preparing for my AIPMT. From 6th, my mother was like, ये करो कि आप and that's another point which I'll come to. You'll understand why I'm bringing this up. So उस टाइम नहीं था डॉक्टर या इंजीनियर ही होता है. And even though my dad was in the army, exposure उतना ज़्यादा नहीं था. We didn't know. And now you've got internet, you've got everything. उस टाइम because the limited family, एक तो family nuclear थी हमारा. So जैसे joint families में सलाह करने के लिए लोग होते हैं, वो हमारा नहीं था system, because ours was a very fairly independent nuclear family. My dad being in the army, my mother was also working, and I have a younger brother and me. So 6th onward मैंने अपना medicine का शुरू कर दिया था. 11th में I had to move to Delhi because of my father's posting, and 11th में केंद्रीय विद्यालय में I had to first time study. So yeah, KV, not first time, but KV में मेरे को admission लेना पड़ा था यहाँ पर 11th में. And there the rule was you cannot take bio without maths.
Okay.
So I had to take maths by force.
Okay.
So PCMB लेना पड़ा मुझे.
ठीक है.
And like, all was going well. Everything is side by side. Coaching चल रही है.
ठीक है.
12th खत्म हुआ, AIPMT clear हो गया.
Okay. And that's a I think test for
medical. All India pre-medical test होता था. अभी कुछ और हो गया नाम उसका. I think now it's called NEET. NEET होता है. NEET हो गया. पहले हमारे टाइम पे AIPMT होता.
ठीक है.
So AIPMT भी क्लियर कर लिया था मैंने, और AIEEE भी था, और UPT आपका जो UP वाला होता है वो भी क्लियर. सब कुछ ये तीन
क्लियर हो गया.
क्लियर.
Wow.
मैथ्स लिया हुआ था तो and maths is something which comes a little bit naturally to me. तो मेरे को उसमें ज़्यादा effort नहीं करना पड़ता है, by God's grace.
Nice.
So yeah, a little bit of बनिया वो आ ही रखा है.
Nice.
तो वो क्लियर हो गया था, but because उस टाइम इतना ज़्यादा deliberate नहीं करा, and family was also like, okay, you don't want to do medicine, fine, do engineering, do whatever. तो उस टाइम थोड़ा casual attitude हो गया था, and plus the thing was there was no mentorship as such that you're so passionate about it, then do it. वहाँ उस टाइम मैंने ये सोचना शुरू कर दिया, no, what can happen faster? So engineering 4 years में हो जाएगी.
So you want to become more independent at that point?
Yes. उस टाइम यही था कि जल्दी से जल्दी जो करा
कमा के let's settle.
And I had seen a lot of doctors at that time who were struggling, right? उनका MD हो रहा है, MS हो रहा है, सब कुछ हो रहा है, उसमें टाइम लगता जा रहा है.
Correct.
So I thought maybe just doing an engineering would be. So that was first mistake of my life, honestly speaking. Now that I see in retrospect, अब COVID वगैरह भी देख लिया. In hindsight, because hindsight is 2020, maybe medicine would have been a good thing, but चलो छोड़ो उसको. Engineering हो गया.
हाँ.
Engineering was from even though it's a extremely good institute amongst the top institutes for textile, but I think I could have, picked up a better stream, and I think I could have done more justice to my potential at that time, but more or less, that was that.
Okay.
So Bombay, this was the first company which came, Mumbai Sanatan Textiles, and they liked the way which I had done all my internships. उस time भी internships
This time you were in Delhi?
No, this is Kanpur. कानपुर में चल रहा है. Engineering कानपुर में चल रही थी मेरी.
ठीक है.
And सो इंटरेस्टिंगली थर्ड ईयर में जो हमारी लाइक इंजीनियर्स में एक इंटर्नशिप सेगमेंट होता है जिसको कहते हैं ट्रेनिशिप सेगमेंट, दैट आई डिड विद ट्राइडेंट टेक्सटाइल्स लिमिटेड का बरनाला में प्लांट है. बरनाला इज इन पंजाब एंड आई डिड 2 प्रोजेक्ट्स फॉर देम. वन वाज टेरी टाल का एसओपी ड्राइंग का एसओपी बनाना है, स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर फॉर टेरी टाल मशीन का ड्राइंग का. एंड द सेकंड वाज राइट फर्स्ट टाइम ऑफ डाइंग. सो डाइंग पहली बार में ही कितने परसेंटली आप बिल्कुल मैच कर पाते हो शेड, वो करने का 2 मेरे प्रोजेक्ट्स थे. एंड दे पेड मी वेरी हैंडसमली. सो इट वाज 10,000 rupees per week at that time, which was unheard of.
Wow.
Which was unheard of because
Even today, it's a quite.
it's a unheard of. So so Trident, but I had seen their culture and everything. So even if I mean, I didn't think that let me get placed into this company. Thankfully, Sanatan Textiles had come by that time. They wanted someone to do the sales part as well. So, and my parents were pretty chilled out about it. कि जहाँ पर जाना है वैसे जाओ and all that. So this happened and they placed me at Mumbai. And I am very fortunate that way. मुझे जहाँ भी जाती हूँ मेरे को रहने की जगह अच्छी मिलती है. My parents or maybe I don't know why how, but by stroke of luck मेरे को अच्छी जगह मिल जाती है. So I was living at Marine Lines and office था लोअर परेल में.
Wow.
Marine Lines, Marine Drive के पास. I know, like 5 minutes away from Marine Drive, Marine Lines है, and that वहाँ पर पीजी मिल गया था. पीजी छोटा सा था, like just the size of a couch which you and I are sitting on. उतना ही मेरे पास बेड था, but expensive one, but it was pretty. It was
a good space, right?
Yeah. So because of the location where I got to stay, my mother was comfortable in letting me stay over there. She was okay with the security. She was, anyways, I was so independent by that time. तो engineering कर ली थी अकेले बैठ के, तो कानपुर जैसी जगह
पे.
So so it was all okay. And side by side, she asked me, please start preparing जो आगे करना है, because Mumbai living at that time 25,000 कुछ सैलरी होती थी, उसमें से भी टैक्स कट जाता था. And this is back in 2012 I'm talking about. And the expenses were too high. She wanted me to do something after that, of course, not BTech पे रुकना नहीं था. So I said, okay, let's just start with it. And I was anyways independently doing all that. So to answer your question, ऐसा कोई parents की तरफ से I didn't have any inhibitions or any lack of freedom कि आप यहाँ जाके कहीं काम करो, वहाँ करो and all that. So वो भिवंडी में उनके warehouses होते थे, वहाँ से up down होता था. हमारा लोअर परेल में ऑफिस होता था. So that could be done. By the time 2013 जुलाई आया, my parents were like, बहुत ज़्यादा खर्चा हो रहा है वहाँ पे, and you're not doing something, you're not accelerating the career. Acceleration उस space पे नहीं हो रहा है. So why don't you think about your future and everything, and let's go in for higher education. So I said, okay. My boss was not at all happy with my decision to pursue higher education. He was, because he had spent a lot of time, he invested in what. So
a good employee going for a higher education, he's never going to come back to you, right?
Yeah. So it's a extremely good company. I'm connected with the Tanis, other promoters of that company. Still connected with them on LinkedIn. Very great people. Gave me my first exposure into the corporate world. But because of the greater good for my own career, I had to move on.
Got it.
So 2013, I moved to Chandigarh to start preparing for CAT, because my dad was posted at Udhampur. So Udhampur में
नहीं ऐसा कुछ भी था,
क्योंकि वो relatively थोड़ा क्या कहते हैं, it's not a field posting, not border नहीं है Udhampur, but वहाँ पर exposure नहीं था, right? You didn't have all the career launchers and the bullseyes of the world, so time and all these things. So, and that was also going to be my second attempt for CAT, क्योंकि पहली बार मैं दे चुकी थी CAT during my engineering days only, in which I had scored 98 percentile. And I don't know what I thought कि नहीं पहले तो नौकरी करनी है, तो मैं पहले नौकरी करने ही चली गई, which was in hindsight again and
you know what, I feel you were so motivated, right? You were so motivated to become independent and also at the same time to make money.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I feel that vibe in you that no, I need to grow, I need to still hustle and still need to get out of this way.
Yeah.
And I really it's really nice. It's really nice.
So वही Trident वाले के बाद तो वो जैसे कहते हैं ना, once you get a taste of your own money. So anyways, I was बहुत सस्ता था, मेरा government college था, so I was not too much dependent on my parents. ठीक ठाक हो गया था उस टाइम तक,
ठीक है,
सेविंग्स भी था और थोड़ा बहुत चलाते रहते थे. आई यूज्ड टू टीच पीपल, ये साइड हसल ये सब कुछ करते करते.
ठीक है.
So in hindsight, again, that was not a right decision at that time. And anybody who's watching, अगर आप कैट अभी जो भी चल रहा है, कैट्स एड जो भी चल रहा है,
कैट
उसमें एक बार अच्छा परसेंटाइल आ जाता है, do not leave it. Go in for that, whatever you are getting. So that was second mistake of my life after AIPMT जो मैंने ये करी.
ठीक है.
So yeah, I moved to Chandigarh and
We start preparing.
again, stroke of luck, I got to stay at sector 10. वहाँ पर पीजी था. Well, best area of Chandigarh.
Best area.
So after Marine Lines, Chandigarh sector 10, and very good PG I got over there. और पास में ही मेरा कोचिंग था कैट का, which was called Bullseye. Bullseye ज्वाइन करा था मैंने, क्योंकि करियर लॉन्चर और टाइम का मैं पहले पैकेज यूज कर चुकी थी अपने.
ठीक है.
तो मैंने कहा इस बार चेंज कर.
It's करके देखते हैं.
And I was teaching chemistry and physics to kids, 11th 12th वालों को मैं उस टाइम पढ़ा रही थी, because PG was expensive and ego है, पेरेंट्स से पैसा नहीं लेना है, ज़्यादा क्या, कुछ नहीं लेना है. So और थोड़ा बहुत पहले saving चल रहा था. And it was a very good lifestyle which I could manage in Chandigarh, because I was वो साइड हसल भी चल रहा था, and plus थोड़ा बहुत पैरे का सेव था, and नॉमिनली सब कुछ मिल गया था वहाँ पे. So this is now in 2013. Yeah, 2013 खत्म होने वाला था फिर. 2013 नहीं, 2013 शुरू हुआ, 2014 तक मैंने ये करा. या 2014 2015 हाँ ठीक बोल रही हूँ. So 2014 वाला कैट जो एंड में होता है वो अटेम्प्ट करा था. 97 point something percentile था मेरा. And all new IIMs का कॉल था. IIM Lucknow, IIM Kozhikode, Irma, Simba, Snap also was cleared, and all these things were cleared. A couple of IIM interviews I could clear. And I'm coming to the third mistake of my life. So somebody in Bullseye told me that Irma is a good one because ROI यहाँ पर जल्दी हो जाएगा. Return on investment जल्दी मिलेगा. Always thinking that way. And किसी भी MBA कॉलेज में जाने के लिए I had to anyways ask for money from my parents. For my parents. Correct. Because ours is a very loan averse family. So my parents have not been able to build a lot of property and a lot of assets just because they were always loan averse. So वही is thinking मेरे में भी रही कि अरे loan
वो लेना.
And education loan was completely out of the table. So Irma का कुछ I think 12 or something lakhs था, and IIMs का 18 lakhs उस time तक पहुंच चुका. This is back in 2015 की बात कर रही हूँ मैं. So I said ठीक है, IIMs converted है, but and 2 good IIMs were converted, and I'll not get into that because then I get emotional. So वो converted है, but Irma में क्योंकि Bullseye वालों ने बोल दिया मुझे that ROI is good. So and of course loan थोड़ी लेना है. So I'll ask my dad for some money and mama for something कि ये कर करा के अभी Irma ही करते हैं, and that's why I went to Irma. That was a pure ROI based decision. I did not do any research as to Irma में exactly जाके क्या होने वाला है, or what is the kind of program which I'm looking at.
What's the placement record?
I said MBA यहाँ है, MBA वहाँ है. So
it's the same.
It's the same thing. So let's go in for Irma.
And when you talk about ROI, and a lot of people do this mistakes. They offer the ROI always. Because as coming from an independent person, you don't want to ask money from anyone, right?
Yeah.
And you always think कि मैं कम में गुजारा कर लूँगा. But if पैसे नहीं मांगूँ, मैं कम में गुजारा कर लूँगा, मैं चाहे कुछ भी कर लूँगा, एक्सटेंड तक चल जाऊँगा, but मैं अपने पेरेंट्स के आगे या हाथ नहीं फैलाऊंगा, किसी के आगे हाथ नहीं फैलाऊंगा. I will make sure कि अगर गलत भी डिसीजन होगा, we'll figure it out, but कम पैसों में हो जाए.
Yeah.
Like during the CAT coaching also, I have seen a lot of time people like मेरे दोस्त 50,000 रुपए दे रहे हैं, and I'm like, आपको वो छोटा वाला प्रोग्राम 12,000 का है ना, वो मैं ले लेता हूँ. बाकी वो तो शीट्स ही है, आप भरवा के मुझे शीट्स ही प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो ना, वो तो मैं घर बैठ के कर सकता हूँ. And I believe
that's a huge mistake people do.
And that's a huge mistake because sometimes you need to have someone, or maybe if you opt for IIMs or some other IIMs, you figure out कि ROI, मैंने सिर्फ ROI एक short term में देखा, but long term नहीं देखा.
Long term में देखा. So exactly that is the thing. One should always think about long term, have a long term vision, then
short term
ROI calculate.
और हम लोग हमेशा short term में रह जाते हैं कि अरे
when you're young, you tend to make that mistake. तभी मैंने जो बात आपसे बोली ना कि पहले सलाह करने वाला जो होता है,
guidance.
So one of the best things which I like about Indian culture and especially North Indian families and Baniya culture is that यहाँ पर सलाह का concept है, which was not a concept in my family. I come from a Punjabi family. यहाँ पर इतना guidance के लिए पूछना या ये नहीं है. यहाँ पर ego बहुत ज़्यादा रहती है and people are very independent that way. Which is something which I see over here. यहाँ पर छोटी-छोटी चीजों के लिए भी like even if you're buying a car, people ask so many people, right? वो नहीं है. ये हमारा फैमिली में ऐसा, हमारी फैमिली में ऐसा नहीं था. यहाँ तो डिसीजन लिया है, आज सोचा
और कल गया और फिर फैमिली को बता रहे हैं कि हाँ गाड़ी आ गई है.
So my father, I was in class 12th and my father one day turns up to our drawing room after his duty hours and he says, in Punjabi he says, मैं उत्थे ना एक कोठी पा ली है. So, and my mother and I are looking at each other, not understanding that what is this guy saying. And it took us good 15 minutes to digest the fact that my father has purchased a property
without
even asking or without even consulting anyone. So, वो and that, by the way, he sold it in loss because उसके ऊपर से high tension wires निकलती थी. So yeah, that financial wisdom lagged in my side of the family. I'm getting a lot of it from my husband's side now that I've been married to him 7 years. So मेरे को काफी financial wisdom इनकी तरफ से आया. From my husband, I get a lot of it. He helps me think about investing. He helps me think about, how to allocate my expenses and all those things. So वो चीज़ एक missing थी. And similarly, so this was the third mistake which I said, that I thought about ROI. Now, IRMA is a good institute. I'm saying extremely good institute for people who want to join it with an intent to do something in rural finance, microfinance, sales, FMCG, and all those things. IRMA, I think I could have done more justice to myself by not choosing it and by
correct.
जो मेरे पास दूसरे options थे, 6-7 lakh rupees extra loan लेके करा जा सकता था. But because I was coming from a very loan averse family and a very ROI oriented
and also sometimes short thinking. Then you get into that MBA program, right?
Yeah, I got there 2015 to 2017. This was where I did MBA. So इसका भी बहुत interesting था. So IRMA is a unique institute in terms of this having 3 different internship segments. So पहला internship segment होता है which is at a rural village or something like that, in which you have to get attached to an NGO. Second hota hai, which is called, I'm forgetting the name of that internship segment, but isme you have to go and work for either a corporate or a cooperative, some sort of that structure. And then the third one is management traineeship segment, which I did in Amul. So first one which I did was with, and I'll skip over this one, itna significant nahi hai ye. Udaipur ka ek gaon hai chota sa. It's called Pai, वहाँ जाके करा था, which had nothing to do with that.
It's such a nice thing. Right now also people are doing काफी in actors societies है after Delhi universities में.
ये
काफी चीज अच्छी है.
Yeah, it's a nice thing for people who want to do it. It's not a nice thing for people who are AC babies and who like to stay in AC and not have all the comforts of life.
I really like the term when you name that AC babies.
So I have become an AC. I was an AC baby. I am still an AC baby, and I'll continue to be that. मेरे को AC चाहिए अपना. And as much as I love the greenery of the rural lands and बहुत सुंदर लगता है मेरे को अपना देश.
Right.
थोड़ा rural life is maybe not meant for me.
For you. Cool.
It's good for vacationing for 1-2 days, but not एक महीने के लिए नहीं है.
ठीक है.
So that was a little bit of a struggle, which I could do with my partners over there. तो हाँ, ये हो गया खत्म. उसके बाद second internship which we did, that is an interesting thing. इसमें हम गए थे वेरका. Verka is Punjab Milk Cooperative.
Okay.
So me and my then classmate, now husband, Ankur Gupta, we went to this place in Mohali. And Mohali में हमने ये internship segment करा था for Verka, where we had to increase the penetration of PO. PIO is their flavored milk.
Okay.
So हमने काफी सारी dipsticks test करे, like products जो भी available थे, market study करी, competition analysis करा and all that. And we formulated a penetration strategy for this product for Verka, and we handed over to them. They were very happy with us. Extremely learning, enriching experience. And I would like to name this one gentleman who was the general manager of that plant at that time. His name is J.K. Gupta.
Okay.
And that man taught us so many things about how FMCG operates, how even operations are done, supply chain and everything. So that man taught us end to end of business in those 45 to 50 days. That man taught us exactly how FMCG end to end operates, right from the way procurement कैसे होती है, processing कैसे होती है plant में, कैसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन अलाइन होता है, कैसे माल रिटेलर्स तक पहुंचता है, रिटेलर्स आगे कैसे बेचते हैं, ऑल द डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर एंड देन रिटेलर्स आगे कैसे.
Nice.
So that man taught us a lot of things. So
वो 10-12 साल की learning
he gave us in 55 days. Yes. And we of course reciprocated by giving our all 120% into making that project a success. And I've been hearing good things about how PO, that flavored milk, has been doing very well in the last few years. Across Punjab है limited, वो अभी थोड़ा यहाँ तक भी आया होगा, so I'm not abreast of with what's the latest on that. But that was a good learning experience which we got in that segment.
Yeah.
Then the next one which we had to do, internship segment, I went in for Amul, and luckily Amul chose me for that one. उसमें कुछ application criteria होता है.
ठीक है.
And yeah, so the project was for liquid milk का penetration उसमें भी बढ़ाना था. Penetration means the
market penetration.
हाँ, market penetration.
Right.
उसमें liquid milk. So I'm sure you would be visiting a lot of hotels. वहाँ पर आपने liquid creamer देखा है.
Correct. अब वो आने लगा है. वो actually वो उसमें होता है, एक कप में होता है छोटे से. वो आप खोलते हो and you add in your coffee.
Exactly. That's the thing. So अभी airlines में भी आपको
वो पाउडर नहीं मिलता, अब आपको वैसे लिक्विड जैसे कि हाँ
उसकी मिक्सेबिलिटी बेटर होती है पाउडर से,
और पाउडर का टेस्ट होता है, उसको टेस्ट अच्छा है.
Good, you're a connoisseur that. So ये वाला
flyer, so
you're a frequent flyer as well. Okay. Business class, I guess. So हाँ जी, तो इसमें जयपुर, अजमेर, पुष्कर के around 105 hotels, boutique hotels as well as good, like all these you've got 4-star houses over there. 5-star तो 5-star anyways, let's not debate on 5 stars, but 4 stars काफी है.
ठीक है.
So all these hotels I visited around upwards of 110 or something across these 3 cities, Jaipur, Ajmer and Pushkar, and there I had to pitch this product to them, liquid creamer, and get it placed over there. So the conversion was good, and our branch manager at that time over there, again I'd like to name him, his name is Ashok Mathur. He's quite active on LinkedIn. He's again an FMCG guru, I would like to say. उन्होंने काफी ज़्यादा सिखाया how to do this B2B sales again. So Ashok Mathur, in fact, he was also the one who taught me how to do arm twisting. So this is a term which is used in sales, that if somebody is not buying your X product but is buying your Y product, then how do you leverage your Y product in order to sell your X product to the same customer?
Right.
So that's called arm twisting. It's a very simplistic
by giving less amount of product to the certain people, and then you were like, and then a short amount, कुछ ऐसा कुछ होता है शायद से जिसमें आप
less amount or no amount, whatever you want to call it,
and then you verify कि अब ये चीज है सिर्फ मेरे पास, आप ये रख लो, and once it starts selling, he always gonna demand you, or फिर आप
yes. So this technique, such techniques of selling, I got to learn from that gentleman,
like
Mr. Ashok Mathur.
Really wise for it, right?
Yes. You need to talk to industry experts. You need to work with them in order to understand how the world operates, right? You can read a lot of books. Of course, आपको theory बहुत समझ आ जाएगी, and theory has its own place. Let's not discount theory. जब तक theory sound नहीं होगी, तब तक आपका practical sound नहीं होगा. But practical sound करने के लिए practical करना पड़ता है.
Right.
So that was then I did this sales. Amul, thankfully, they were very happy with my performance, and they to 2 people. One is a dear friend of mine, Gaurav Sharma. He did his internship in Dubai, and to him and to me. So we were the 2 people in 36 batches of IRMA, who first 2 people to get a PPO, pre-placement offer from Amul. And Amul happened to us then, and of course, so फिर फील्ड सेल्स वहीं से करना था, तो इट वाज अ कॉन्शियस डिसीजन कि हाँ मुझे फील्ड सेल्स ही करना है.
एक बैच पे कितनी फीमेल्स थी जिन्होंने ऑप्ट किया होगा कि
फील्ड सेल्स करना है? सो इट वाज अ बैच ऑफ 180 पीपल. 180 में से आई थिंक 60-65 I think were girls, if I'm not mistaken. थोड़ा time हो गया, याद नहीं है मेरे को. 60-65 were girls. Girls mostly wanted to go in for microfinance roles, या जैसा अभी इसमें आ गया है, you know, IDFC bank kind of thing, or all those things. So नहीं, ऐसा है, many girls opted for sales. It's not like they didn't go in for, even in my batch I remember a lot of people from my own cohort, they went to Irma sales. तो काफी ने sales में opt करा था. Then there's no inhibition as.
अच्छा, ठीक है. I was thinking कि कहीं ना कहीं एक restriction है कि नहीं फील, क्योंकि right now also we talk to any NBA guy, वो sales में नहीं जाना चाहता. या वो sales टेली
बहुत pressure है इस sale में, and it's got a lot of rigor. Not just pressure, it's also a rigor. You need to be going constantly at it.
Correct.
Right? So काफी कम लोग opt करना चाहते हैं. I know these days, because of course people want to go in for more glamorous.
Correct.
But I believe for anyone to succeed in life, they, in their career, life तो बहुत बड़ी चीज है. In career, they should always do sales for at least 2 to 3 years if they want to have a long career, right? Because then you'll have faced so many difficulties, then you'll have faced so much of pressure that आगे things will seem very easy for you, right?
And that's how you do that, right? So once you start doing sales, and after sales you do the something else, right?
Yeah.
And people like, तू इतना stress है. मैंने मेरे लिए कुछ नहीं है भाई,
स्ट्रेस नहीं है,
stress नहीं है भाई, ये जो मुझे मैसेज रिपोर्ट है, it's okay.
So that way I feel sales is extreme. Sales stint for anyone to have a successful corporate career, or to have even a successful government career, I would say. You need to put in your time in, if not field sales, but some sort of a sales, so that you understand how the world works.
Right.
So that you develop your yourself, you develop your
your backbone, right?
Yeah, backbone. That's a right term to use. So you know how the world works.
Exactly.
How to get things done.
Correct.
So I think 7 or 8 girls opted at that time. Abhi 2-3 from my batch would be remaining still.
ठीक है.
I don't really remember the exact figure.
Then you were in Amul,
and then Amul happened. Yeah. So Amul mein, let's go to Amul's career. Amul's stint, not career. So Amul's stint happened from May 2017, I think. Yeah, May 2017 it had started. पहले 2 महीने तो internship वही रहता है, in the sense it's a market training section and not internship, market training रहता है. And उसमें वही distributors से मिलो, understand the market of Lucknow region, and do all those things. And then, of course, I was handed over the dairy portfolio, which I told you, right? 24 products, 24 plus products. Now there must be more. 24 products, around 100 plus SKUs, 250 crores annual revenue. And that's something which I had to manage on my own with 80 distributors, 80. That was a difficult job. तो 80 distributors के साथ आपने जब manage करना होता है, then there's something called primary sales, secondary sales, tertiary sales, which you understand, right? So distributor की जो sale manage करनी होती है, along with logistics, that was a challenging part, and that's where I had to, really apply all my acquired skills.
That too dairy product. उस time कभी लगा नहीं कि ये job मैं कर रही हूँ, and it's so frustrating because every single day it's a new challenge.
हाँ.
कभी लगा नहीं कि इससे मुझे निकलना.
हाँ, आता था, वो feeling आती थी बहुत.
Second out, क्यों मैं कर रही हूँ यार? This is not me. I'm going to retail stores और वो मुझे इज्जत से नहीं बात कर रहे हैं. मैं खड़ी हुई हूँ.
अमूल के साथ इज्जत बहुत मिलती है.
अच्छा. But not इज्जत basically, but the kind of a preference I get, right? Because
definitely
the preference is like, it's more about if you're sitting with a retailer, the preference is all about कि मेरा customer खड़ा है, मैं customer को पहले treat करूँगा, आपको मैं बाद में बताता हूँ.
So distributor से ज़्यादा dealing होता था, retailer से थोड़ा सा कम होता था, but I did face those issues as well. Like I'm going to a retailer for some product placement, and they are giving a total cold shoulder. They don't want to interact. So yes, those times I used to feel definitely that this is not really my job. But then again, my job was not to do that thing. My job was to train my territory sales in charge, or to train my pilot sales person. I had to bring about that perspective कि मेरे पास आदमी दिए गए हैं ये काम करवाने के लिए. So I could demo to them that this is how you need to deal. But at the end of the day, I couldn't take it personally, right? That's not.
I think it was actually at that point of time you always think कि क्या कर रही हूँ, but it was I guess जो आप अभी कर रहे हो.
हाँ.
I think ये उसका एक foundation था.
Definitely. I had to evolve myself. So yes, you're right. But it was a stepping stone. Because if I had not done that,
तो आज आप इस जगह पे नहीं होते.
I wouldn't know exactly how this world operates, how retail sales operates, right?
Nice.
So how distribution works, how do we set route to markets, how do we formulate?
हाँ, वो 5 जो रीजन से वो 5 कंट्रीज.
हाँ, तो
कभी.
वो फर्क पड़ जाता है उससे, वो बहुत फर्क होता है. And again, I was very blessed to have a great manager, great mentor, Mr. Rajiv Tripathi. He's still he's doing a brilliant job right now as branch manager of Lucknow branch. And I also found a mentor in our zonal sales in charge at that time. His name is Shri Narendra Sinha. And excellent business acumen both these gentlemen had. So they helped me. They helped the nurture the
The
business person in
and
me.
also the Sukriti, right?
Yeah.
आज Sukriti है.
They help me formulate how to strategize or how to deal with people, or how to deal with retailers or distributors. They taught me how to do those things. वो नहीं आता अगर मैं वो काम ना कर रही हूँ.
और वो क्विट कर देते तो वो 2 महीने
हाँ, वो 2 महीने में
क्विट कर देते.
People do. People quit. A lot of people quit.
People do that. People sometimes calls me up and they're like, "Ki, Ritik, we want to switch our careers, right? But the current job is very toxic." मैं उसको छोड़ के I will switch the career. मैंने कहा भाई मत छोड़, because if you gonna switch your career, if you जो तेरे में motivation है वो toxic culture की अगर वो ही खत्म हो जाएगी because you left the company and then there's no motivation, right? You need to every single day you need to go to the office and think about जैसे ही मेरे पास ऑफर लेटर आता है मैं तब छोड़ूंगा, मैं तब तक नहीं छोड़ूंगा. एंड पीपल डू दिस मिस्टेक्स. दे क्विट कि 2 महीने में अच्छा नहीं लगा, 3 महीने में अच्छा नहीं लगा, छोड़ दिया. एंड यू नो व्हाट, जो आप अभी कर रहे हो ये सुकृति उस टाइम अगर नहीं होता या फिर बिल्ड नहीं होता वो बैकबोन तो शायद से तो कभी नहीं हो पाता.
आपको बिल्डिंग बनानी है तो उसका आपको फाउंडेशन.
एंड यू ऑलवेज थिंक अबाउट कि और 2 साल आपको नहीं करा वो काम. इट वाज रियली हाँ.
So, yeah, foundation वही मैं कह रही हूँ ना, foundation बनानी पड़ती है. You can't do. And a lot of people talk about toxic work culture, high work pressure, not discounting their feelings. They are pretty much entitled to the way their
work-life balance
and all those things. With all due respect to them, quitting is not an option.
Sukriti, so just to cut short, right? Accenture में किया, right? Accenture में तो you maybe have an office, proper office culture, right? So काफी अलग feeling आई हो.
हाँ, Accenture का बस अब हमारा अमूल खत्म हो गया था. So I was coming down to Accenture. Accenture में I had to do FMCG
ठीक है.
projects, but the pipeline sort of got a little bit disturbed at that time, and FMCG projects फिर थोड़ा dry up हो गए थे. So I was asked to do telecom as well as project management projects, and that's where I found my calling. And yeah, let's come to that one. So Accenture first project, second project, ये दोनों हो गए मेरे. I'm sorry, I can't name those.
No worries.
But the third one, which happened, was a telecom merger. So US में, and I can name them because I have their due permission. So US Midwest company थी एक Sprint.
हाँ.
Sprint was getting acquired by T-Mobile. And that's where they wanted someone to help out. One of the managers, he wanted someone to help out in the integration management office. So I was given that task and I helped him out with that thing. And it was a PMO sort of a role, project management office role, integration management.
And it was something new to you, right?
It was completely new to
you because
so I had to upskill myself on the job and without any resources as such, right? So I didn't get any formal material जिससे मैं upskill हो जाऊँ. It was given to me that ये project management आपको करना है यहाँ पर, आपको you have to help out this guy with this manager for integration and all those things. And CXO reporting थी, CXO level की reporting थी.
Yeah.
All the things which I was generating, all the dashboards which I was generating, that couldn't be full of errors, right? That had to have a Six Sigma sort of a error-proof deliverables होते थे मेरे. And that's where I got my first rigor of reporting to CXO for US companies, right? तो उन्होंने काफी मेरे को mentor करा, and I used to build really beautiful dashboards out of both Excel and Power BI, and which helped him in decisioning with the CXO over there, sitting all the way in somewhere in, I think he was right. That time he was in Chicago and I was here working from Gurgaon or working from home half the times because late night ho jata tha. So that was the first time I got exposed to project management.
Wow.
And I could perform well. That's why I got my next opportunity on a project, which was again for integration management for VMware.
Okay.
So VMware is one of the largest software companies of the world. And they, at that time, back in 2019 and 2020, now we are in 2020, they had acquired 4 companies. So आपको पता होगा software companies grow inorganically by acquiring companies.
Exactly.
Right? छोटे-छोटे fish, बड़ा fish acquire करता जाता है. So
and that's how they acquire the clients.
Clients also, and they grow big that way. अपना numbers भी वो ऐसे ही बढ़ा था. So 4 of their acquisitions, Blue Medora, then there was Last Line security software था ये. Then there was Datrium, which was a disaster recovery software, and there was 1, 2, 3, Blue Medora, Last Line, Datrium, and there was one thing which I'm forgetting. Wow.
कोई बात नहीं.
I'm forgetting that one.
That's okay.
4 of these acquisitions I worked on. And my then manager, and I was part of Accenture at this time. I was working for VMware, providing my consulting services to VMware.
Okay, got it.
And that lady, my manager at that time from VMware, she was happy with my work or impressed with my work.
And she's like,
yeah, she said, quote unquote, she poached me, right? She poached me. She got those contract mein modifications karwa ke, and I happily bid farewell to Accenture, went into VMware, and this is it.
And what about the salary package? Kitna jump hua Accenture se Amul se thoda stop.
Okay.
Just about
numbers बताती हूँ आपको. So Amul to Accenture was close to 45% or something. Amul to Accenture अच्छा jump था.
Wow.
Yeah. Accenture to VMware was also good. Close to, I would say,
interesting.
35% तो था ये भी. 35% plus थोड़ा सा bonus amount.
And you were like, hey, now it's my time
for it.
Now it's my time.
Yeah. So that was a good jump which they gave me.
And in between, I think आपकी शादी हो गई थी उस time.
शादी तो बस इरमा के immediately बाद
के बाद ही हो गई.
Immediately बाद.
Your husband was happy, jump. Wow.
Yeah, he was always. His jumps are even greater. So because he was switching from FMCG to FMCG and then to.
Exactly. He's actually stick to the same industry.
Right. तो उनका थोड़ा ज़्यादा अच्छा रहा था, but yeah, so 35% यहाँ पर भी था VMware में.
और work life balance उनकी और अच्छी है.
उनसे कुछ बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छी. Let's not get into that, right?
Nice.
मेरा थोड़ा नहीं है.
Right.
It's okay. I own it. I accept it.
You accept the road, right?
Yeah.
And you need to walk on that road.
So
correct.
VMware में then it was I joined VMware in April 2021. Yeah, 2021 VMware joined करा मैंने. And there I because acquisitions उस time तक कम हो गए थे, but the role remained the same. वही project management का role था, and I had grown very fond of this discipline that is project management. So I was doing there's a stream called product operations. So उसमें new product introduction and new service introduction का जो भी करना होता था project manage. I used to do that for 2 business units for them.
Right.
So and my hours used to extend in US hours because all my
clients was based out of US.
So I wouldn't call them clients because now they were my company. Colleagues. So, and my, of course, the people who I had my dotted line reporting to, or direct reporting to. And so when I was few months into VMware, my manager was then based out of Costa Rica.
Okay.
So उनका सारा specific hours ही रहते थे, which I had to, of course, manage my hours according to his hours. And
correct.
थोड़ा सा उस time भी मेरा ये रहता था that I had to work late into my nights.
Correct.
But interesting role, project management जो था, मैंने वहाँ पर अपने skills को polish करा. I can say that thing because जो मैं सीख के आई थी Accenture time से for VMware also, how to manage projects end to end is what I sharpened those skills during my time at VMware. So here I launched close to 100 plus software products. New software.
कभी सोचा था लाइफ में कि एक FMCG से निकल के एक डेली प्रोडक्ट्स से लेके बस सॉफ्टवेयर
Right. I had not thought of it. And it's serendipity. It's also, I would say, a little bit of my hard work, a little bit of
The luck.
luck as well. And of course, circumstances had a lot to play in that thing, right? It doesn't happen naturally. It doesn't happen overnight. I got to meet a lot of people. इसमें networking आ जाती है. You really need to do intentional network.
Correct.
ये
Correct.
cold calling से networking नहीं होती. You have to be extremely intentional about it, right? So if you're approaching someone, you need to be very clear about why you're approaching that particular person and what exactly you're going to bring to that table,
Correct.
right?
Correct. A lot of time people, they don't get this point because उनको पता होता है उनको चाहिए क्या, बट उनको ये नहीं पता होता कि
किसके बाद
नहीं टेबल पे क्या उनको ऑफर कर सकते हैं.
हाँ,
They always like out कि इनसे क्या
ले सकते हैं. So that's where, you know,
I think that's where the networking goes wrong.
yes, exactly. And people keep saying your network is your net worth, is your network. All these things people keep saying, right? You need to be very conscious about it. You need to have a lot of intention behind. If you're talking to another person, you need to know your purpose.
Correct.
If you don't know your purpose, then you're just wasting your time as well as the other person's time. So I keep telling a lot of people, कि थोड़ा सा, even the people I mentor, I tell them you need to be intentional about it. You can't just...
And even if you are not able to add any value on the table, but I think you need to be very clear around your
intentions. Yeah.
Right? So this is the intention, this is the goal. If you want to join, and happily, if you want to talk about it, happily. Otherwise, a lot of time people, they just waste the time and they're like, tata bye bye.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, yeah, we were talking about launching more products and new services. So, छोटे products, बड़े projects, सब करते there were 100 plus by the time my ending of time at VMware. So VMware was getting acquired by Broadcom. I had an offer from Broadcom, but then I thought maybe it's time to start looking out, expanding my horizons, क्योंकि 2 साल हो चुके, 2.5 साल हो चुके थे doing project management, and I wanted to look at roles in which I could add more value to the organization I was working. Money was not a factor at that time, I'll be very honest with you. Money, I was comfortable.
You were living a comfortable life.
It was extremely comfortable. So I was not looking for huge hikes. I was not looking for बहुत ESOPs मिल जाएं. I was looking for a role in which I'll get...
ESOPs मिले?
अगर मैं दूसरी किसी IT कंपनी को ज्वाइन करती तो मिलते, which I...
हाँ, but
नहीं, यहाँ पर नहीं है because this is a public listed company, तो यहाँ पर ESOPs नहीं है, ESOPs नहीं है.
Sukriti, really interesting, right? I'm really loving the fact that coming from Amul to now heading Optimum Nutrition at 5 countries.
No, I'm not heading.
Not heading, but
I'm program managing their new product introduction as well as their strategic projects for China, South Asia, Middle East, Turkey, and Africa. So these are my regions which I'm managing over here.
So Sukriti, from doing offline kind of a setup in Amul, right, where you were retail guy, you were actually going to retailers and wholesalers and everyone, right, distributors, doing now at that level कि जहाँ पे 5 countries का time zone manage कर लूँ.
हाँ जी, तो manage time zones काफी manage करने पड़ते हैं because even with the, you know, with the...
अभी तो कोई नहीं सोचा था कि अमूल में काम करते करते मैं 5 countries का time zone कभी manage करूँगी.
Honestly, I had not thought that my journey will lead me to this place. So I'll be very, very, very cognizant about it and not say that हाँ मेरा dream था, पहले से ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. It's just, you know, the right things which kept on happening, maybe serendipity which kept on happening, and my own work which I was putting in to upskill myself, to build this equity around me, and to, of course, have this discipline of project management. और इसको अपने आप को skill करना, sharpen करना, ये skills. So that's what led me to the place where I am right now. And now the people who I interact with on a daily basis are country GMs. So China का country GM से मैं सुबेरे मेरा China के country GM से interaction होता है. So दिन के time, then I'm working with our India GM, who is an excellent, I mean, such a brilliant guy. He's an IIT IIM pass out himself, and so फिर इंडिया से कर लिया. उसके बाद शाम के टाइम मेरा मेटा वालों से, यानी कि मिडिल ईस्ट की अफ्रीका से के GM से भी बात करनी पड़ती है. So that's how my day goes, and of course I get to work with industry veterans. My boss is an industry veteran. He's been in supply chain for close to 20 years now, and the person who leads the entire region, the vice president of the region, he's also in the industry since 25, 26 years now. So इतने बड़े लोगों के साथ I help them get the organization achieve its goals. So that's what gets me up every day, and keeping things in line. So what is project management? Let's take a step back and understand what a project is, right? A project is not running a business. A project is an endeavor which you take up, which has a fixed start time and a fixed end time, right? It's not rose ka business, run the business nahi hai project. Project is an endeavor with a start and an end time, right? So what I'm helping out my teams across these regions do is, like, say, for example, if some new flavor has to be brought in, right? And you are a consumer of Optimum Nutrition and protein powder and everything. So if a new flavor has to be brought in, or if a new pack size has to be brought in, how do we go about from ideating that thing? Like, kahan se idea aa raha hai, uski idea ke behind what's the thought process in it? How do we articulate that? How do we build a business case around it? Then how do we source the material? How do we maybe put the artwork around it? How do we pack it? How do we then bring it from all the way from one plant to the warehouses, and from the warehouses to further ahead to the distributors? Or how do we bring it all the way from US or UK plants to maybe say China, or to maybe say some country in Africa, maybe Turkey? Wahan par kaise leke aana hai? So these are the things which I help out my teams with in terms of both a new product development as well as some strategic projects. So that's what my day-to-day job these days is.
From VMware, you switched to Optimum Nutrition, right?
Yeah.
कितने interviews दिए? कुछ क्या पहले इंटरव्यू में क्रैक हुआ? कितने interviews दिए? कितने rounds थे? And it's an international company.
Yes, an international.
You already was aware about कि मैं 5 countries का time zone manage करना पड़ेगा.
Okay, so interestingly, so VMware was getting acquired by Broadcom. I think I told you before. And even though I had an offer from Broadcom for a full-time opportunity tha, but I decided maybe let's go out, broaden my horizons, and see something where I could do program management and not just project management, right? Because I'd been doing project management for 2.5 years already at VMware, and I was loving it. But I wanted to grow. I was comfortable with the kind of money I was making. I was not looking for a great hike or anything, but I always used to keep looking for program management roles. And luckily enough, one day, I think it was my husband who found this opening on LinkedIn, and he forwarded me and he said, do you want to appear for this interview? And like, no, Broadcom has already happened, and another company, Databricks, I was also interviewing for them at that time. So either I'll go in for continue with Broadcom or Databricks, because IT to IT karte hain, so itna nahi socha maine that. But you think, no, you need to start thinking about your long-term career and now get into program management.
Okay.
So I said, okay, let me appear for this interview. And I clicked on that link, filled a few details, and I got a call, first an email reply from their Ireland talent acquisition team, who said, we want to verify these details. Are you interested in this role? I said, yeah, of course I'm interested in this role. So we had a prelim discussion with that talent acquisition team. I had that one. And she said, Sukriti, I think you're a good candidate. You understand what exactly we want to do for this role. So are you okay interviewing with our supply chain director, who's based out of Gurgaon office? I said, yes, okay, but give me something which is later in my hours, because I was not waking early that day.
Okay, got it.
रात को काम करती थी मैं ज़्यादा, तो नहीं हो पाता था. सुबह नहीं जा सकती. So she scheduled an interview with my current manager and then my interviewer. And he said, this is the role. It was a 45-50 minute discussion, and he grilled me on fundamentals of project management and something like that. And he said, what is your notice period? That was his closing statement. I said, sir, it is going to be three months. He said, can you join before that? I said, I'll see, because there is no hard date written on this. Plus, the company is undergoing acquisition, so I don't know. They said, okay, let me know. And that was how he concluded that thing. And he said, see you soon. So I was like, okay, see you soon. The very next day, I get a call from the same lady from Ireland, and she over WhatsApp, and she tells me, "We want you to go in for another round of interview with the VP."
Okay.
And I said, "Okay, fine, but what's the feedback?" She said, "The feedback is positive.
That's why we actually want to.
So because my then now boss, then interviewer, he didn't give me any clues as to right.
And then usually
He just asked me
ऐसे होते हैं interview,
notice
किसी को
period.
close नहीं मिलते.
कोई clues नहीं दिया उन्होंने. And my next interview with this giant VP of our region, extremely thorough gentleman, he asked me, "Are you interviewing with other companies?" The first question is, "Are you interviewing for some other roles as well?" I said, "Yeah, Databricks is happening in parallel." And he goes about and says, "What is it that we can offer you that you will join us and not Databricks?" And I said, "Sir, I am not looking for money. I'm just looking for role clarity. And if you can tell me more about the role and what are the kind of stakeholders I'll be interacting with, I'll make up my mind sooner, and I'll revert to you sooner." And that was a 15-minute discussion which she had. And I think within seventh or eighth minute, he had sold me the role totally. That these are the stakeholders you're looking.
Good salesman.
He's extremely good.
Good sales.
Extremely good. And it was not false selling. It was really
True, sir.
it was exactly the thing which I'm doing right now. He had described to me that these are the expectations from you. We want a strong program manager who can oversee all the projects, who can help mentor people, run their projects, who can help people get more ownership of the projects which they are driving, and who can bring about perspective, from a theoretical as well as a practical perspective, कि कैसे projects को run करना है.
Correct.
So that was the second brief interview which I had given with Glanbia. And they rolled out an offer letter, and with a little bit of, negotiations over, itna bonus, wo bonus, and all those small little components. And they gave me a good 30% something hike again. And that was all. So I think within 3 months, 3 months I had joined this one as well. So from the time I notice period till
ग्रेट. कैसा लगता है सुकृति, अमूल के एक रिटेल मैनेजर से आज एक you're actually working in a पहले 5 states 5 region कवर करते थे आप,
region,
right?
state एक ही था.
हाँ, state था, region 5 region कवर करते थे. Now you are actually covering like 5 countries, and like you're talking to people.
Yeah, it's
I think work life balance अच्छा ही होगा फिर.
okay. Work-life balance. अभी थोड़ा सा work-life balance is not that great per the definition of work-life balance. Because it's a hybrid work mode. वैसे तो hybrid है, but 3 days I have to go to the office, and then I have also a little bit of traveling here and there. Just last month I visited Shanghai to meet my China colleagues.
कैसा लगता है?
Next month I'll be going to.
कैसा लगता है कि flights हैं, meetings हैं? Earlier you was traveling from Lucknow to ये आपका बहराइच और तानपारा, गोंडा, right? वो धूल मिट्टी में, और आज flight.
Today it is flight.
कैसा लगता है? Do you think about?
I feel like I have done the right things. I feel like
I own this.
I earned this is what I feel. And thanks to my support system, my husband is my biggest support system, who pushed me. This is something which you can do next. This is something which you can do next. I know you have the capability and the potential to do it.
Yeah.
So definitely it feels extremely good. But at the same time, it's a lot of hard work is involved. So I mean, my meetings can go anywhere from morning 6:30. Sometimes, China meetings with US colleagues are at 6:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. कभी भी ऐसा भी odd timings होता ही है. Until late night, sometimes it's 1 o'clock in the night, 2 o'clock in the night, I'm doing something, sending out some report or some deck, something. So work-life balance, I think I'm okay with it. As long as my health is being maintained, I'm perfectly fine. I have a good support system at home. I've got a cook, I've got a lady who comes to clean, I've got someone who cleans my car, and I get Blue Smart subere sham aane jaane ke liye. So it's that way, time management is totally on me. And
just want to understand the difference between working in Indian-based company versus working as an MNC, like international companies. क्या difference exposure है?
I would like to rephrase that question. It is working with Indian bosses
versus
working with bosses who are non-Indian.
Non-Indians.
So working with Indian bosses comes with a lot of rigor. working with non-Indian bosses, irrespective of the company, there is a little less of a rigor because we as Indians, we have a lot of work ethic. We are extremely conscious about our delivery timelines, right? If it has to happen by Thursday EOD, it has to happen by Thursday EOD, even if it is 12 o'clock at night, right? So, वो थोड़ा culture difference आ जाता है. And I think that is one of the reasons why Indians are heading so many global companies because we bring in the rigor.
Correct.
Our talent is such, right, that it brings about the rigor.
Correct.
I have that, I would say, of course, I have very competent colleagues, but I think I have that edge over everyone else where I feel like I can contribute here. And this is an opportunity which I want to go and upfront ask my boss for. Like, for example, he's running this forum. I will voluntarily, I'll volunteer myself and say, boss, can I run this thing? I promise I'll deliver.
A lot of people don't do that, right?
They don't do that. I'm not getting paid for it.
Getting salary, I'm happy, I'm gonna leave 10 to 5, 10 to 6, whatever, right?
So that attitude, if it works for people, good for them. I think I thrive in an environment where people are more proactive, where people like to take on more work because work brings work, right?
Correct.
The more you work, the more you. So एक स्लाइड पे आप जितना आइटम डिटेल्स शो करोगे उतने आपको क्वेश्चंस आएंगे, राइट? If you build up PowerPoint, अगर आप शो ही 4 पॉइंट्स करोगे, बुलेट पॉइंट्स करोगे, then you won't get those questions.
Correct. अगर आज सुकृति वो 2 महीने में छोड़ देती अमूल की तो आज शायद से नहीं हेड कर रही होती, right? And I think it's a really motivating to people who are actually working right now and thinking to switch their careers. I always feel that you need to have an option, you need to have a motivation around it because once you diet that motivation कि वो toxic है या फिर वो नहीं है, वो motivation नहीं रहती है, right? And you end up doing the same thing again.
Yeah.
फिर आप वैसी कंपनी या वैसी कल्चर में जाओगे क्योंकि मोटिवेशन नहीं है.
क्योंकि आप स्विच उस तरीके से करोगे ना, then you will be switching to a great organization or a great role.
Correct.
See, organizations are made good or great by people, right? And people are going to be more or less the same everywhere. It's you who determines what you want to do, how you want to go ahead.
And Sukriti, also to bring down this, you also done some kind of a course or something, right? We won't going to name that, but how was your experience around it?
So I did an IT project management course.
Okay.
And honestly, I did not learn too much out of it. I just did that for the heck of it because I thought maybe, something.
And what the company was actually paying for it? Like
No, company didn't pay for it. I paid it from my own pocket.
Okay.
I thought the company would pay for it, but I had already paid, so company audit mein but yeah, the company was willing to pay for it, of course, if I had gone by the route of them paying for it. But there was a little bit of a mismatch over there, and then I ended up paying from my pocket. So there are a lot of good project management courses available. I would not suggest people to just go in for it for the heck of it.
Right. Okay.
I would suggest people to first know exactly what they want to do, which organization they want to get a project management role into, and then tailor it according to their needs. Some companies want PMP certification, like IT companies want PMP or PGMP certification. Then go in for a PMP certification, right? Don't go in for executive courses. Some companies don't want it at all. Some companies want some sort of a, exec MBA, or some companies don't want it. Some companies are okay with not even having an MBA or anything. They're okay. So you need to understand what exactly you have to do and then make up your mind into going in for such courses. Courses will come dime a dozen. वो तो बहुत सारे आते रहेंगे. You need to be very conscious of.
Got it. So, Kriti, any maybe the learnings, top 2 learnings throughout your career, which you actually come across, and also I've seen from, like, again, it's for people who are actually looking at you, they don't know your background, right? They're like, hey, such a five countries you're visiting, such a, in a different environment, you're working in such a different environment, and you're going to places, and it's such a lavish role, right? But people don't know the reality.
Yeah.
They don't know the background you come from, right? Yeah. And they feel like it's okay. So I think the most important point of doing this podcast is to bring your background story. Okay, dude, I was working at that level and now I'm here, right? वो मैं एक रात में या फिर मैं एक रोल स्विच करके ऐसे नहीं आ गई, right? Sukriti, any 2 learnings which you want to give to the viewers or listeners कि ये 2 learnings है मेरी लाइफ की And maybe it's a personal, professional, whatever, right? You want to talk about it.
Just two. Just two. Two please. No down will be.
Yeah, and that's the reason top two, because people don't top three, top four. I just want to make sure top two.
Top two. Okay. So the first one would be, it's a mix of two things. So I'll try to intermingle two things into first one. That is, chance always favors the prepared mind, and the prepared mind comes only from hard work. So there is absolutely no substitute for hard work. People say you can work smart, do smart work, do this, that. All that is fine for the face of it, on the face of it, right? कहने के लिए अच्छा लगता है smart work कर लो, but there's absolutely no substitute for hard work. Absolutely no substitute. If you want to get to some place, you really need to put in your hours. You really need to prepare your mind. You really need to train it every day, right? Up, say for simple Excel, right? I learned to do pivot tables back in 2012 from my first, or 2012 from my first boss. I still did use pivot tables, but my speed, the way I'm using it, that's become so different for all these years. In 12 years, that's sara difference aa gaya. So every day you have to bring about that cycle. You need to have that discipline to learn something or the other. And you need to put a lot of hard work. So there is no substitute for hard work. That's one for top learning.
There's also a quote that not every successful guy actually, not every hardworking guy becomes successful, but every successful guy actually
works hard. Yeah. So that's true. That is definitely true.
Right.
And the second thing I would like to say is the devil is in the details. And you really need to look everything, not from a bird's eye view, but in details if you're making some decision. Like, those are few mistakes I made in my life. So I would want the younger children, or anybody who's younger to me or my peer, to not make those same mistakes, right? Like I told you, AIPMT ke baad medical na karna, ya for example, अच्छी खासी percentile के बाद भी not going in, not IIMs करना लेना. So those few mistakes which I did were just because of the fact that I did not delve into the details of things. So devil is always in the details. Go in for it. जब तक आप उसको rigorously नहीं, terms and conditions किसी चीज का नहीं पढ़ते हो, तब तक sign मत करो. So that those are the top two learnings from my career, education, whatever you can call it. So
and how's life right now? Like how
is life right?
कैसी है life?
I love Delhi. I love Dwarka. I've got my own place over here, and it's a, I would say, it's a decent place. And I'm very happy to have my husband.
Still there is a motivation in you, right? I see that. Because you know what? I come from sales. You also comes from sales, right? You know what? And a sales, I'm not sure with if it goes with you or not. When you step into a sales now, it always gives you so much maybe an options to make more money, because sales is more about incentives, right? And it push you so much hunger in you now that even कुछ भी अगर कर लोगे लाइफ में, वो हंगर तो हमेशा रहेगी. क्या अगर मैं 10 करोड़ की सेल कर रहा हूँ तो भी मैं खुश नहीं हूँ, मेरी टीम कह रही है आप
you cannot be ever complacent.
क्यों नहीं हो? मैं कहता हूँ हाँ मैं एक मिनट खुश हुआ था, बट अब मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि नेक्स्ट क्वार्टर कैसे कर सकते हैं सेल्स को.
So you should always look for the next thing. Satisfy होके बैठ जाओगे तो फिर आप रिटायरमेंट ही ले लो.
But अभी सुकृति क्या सोचती है when she works in a company, and it's a very good company. Now what's your mindset? कि now a lot of people who are looking at you, looking at your profile, looking at everything, you're living someone's dream right now.
Yeah,
absolutely right. You're living someone's dream. Now once you achieve these dreams, right, when you have a good job, you have a husband, you have a good place to live, right, now what next?
So it's not about having a good job. It's also about maintaining that equity, right? It's not like I have proved myself, got into this company.
I will relax.
अब मैं chill करूँगी. नहीं हो सकता है. It's an everyday rigor. I every day have to get up at that time. I every day have to sit X hours in front of my system, and I every day have to put in X many hours of meetings. So that's a rigor. It's a never-ending cycle.
And do you still feel that ये सब चीज़ें जो मुझे अचीव हुई हैं, कहीं न कहीं एक अमूल plays a very vital role, the job which you have done with Amul.
Not just Amul, I would say even my previous first company, Sanatan, or my first actual exposure into corporate, which I did back in my engineering, Trident Textiles. Trident Textiles taught me how to be thorough with all the standard operating procedures, right? That learning which I got back in 2011 was the first time I was exposed to corporate world, was the first time I did something for another company, a multi-million dollar company, Trident Textiles. They are exporting towels to, I don't know, more than 100 countries or so. And you go to any good hotel across the world, you will definitely find one or the other towel जिसके ऊपर Trident का logo लगा होएगा या Trident का. Yes, yes, yes. It's a very small detail.
Nice, nice.
You'll notice it sometime whenever. Even Europe, across Europe, you'll see all the 5 stars, they are using Trident का towel. Wimbledon में Trident का towel use होता है, by the way.
And the
Wimbledon में भी Trident का towel use होता है.
and the company is based out of like
बरनाला बरनाला में उनका
so that the mindset that guy who is up
राजेंद्र गुप्ता is the name of the promoter
Banya
and बनिया guy. लुधियाना में उन्होंने I think they've got their headquarters, they've got their offices over here in Gurgaon as well as in Mumbai, and then plant of course उनका बरनाला में है. So इतने छोटी सी जगह से उन्होंने इतना बड़ा इंडस्ट्री बना दिया. So I would say each and every role which I got to deliver on, I had some role to play in shaping me up as the person I am right now, the professional I am right now. So
आज वो जो सैलरी पे हो आप राइट अमूल वर्सेस राइट नाउ कितना एक्स का डिफरेंस है
how more I was at this one 3x तो हो ही गया होगा. 3x तो है ही.
3x
3x है.
in 10 years
7 years.
7 years 3x
Yeah.
commendable. Really like about the finest thing about Sukriti you is I can see that vibe in you still. Like I can see that Sukriti. I can imagine that Sukriti working offline and talking to people and managing them, and then coming back to home and then like, dude, what I've been doing it. I am also have a vibe towards that. You will still gonna do better in your life because personally, I feel once you're a sales guy,
Yes. That rigor comes in.
you always feel like a dude. And you know what? Outside the world, like outside people who are actually seeing you out from outside, they will look like क्यों मेहनत कर रहे थे तो क्यों इतना
People ask me the same question.
क्यों कर रही है भाई तेरे इतना अच्छा खासा सब कुछ है बट यू नो व्हाट यू डेवलप दैट बैकबोर्ड
Yeah.
जब तक आपको नहीं मिलेगा ना वो ट्रिप है वो नहीं मिलेगी तब तक नहीं आएगा
Right.
रोज अगर मैं सुबह उठ के वो नहीं देखूंगा नंबर्स नहीं देखूंगा या फिर मैं अपनी सेल्स टीम से बात नहीं करूंगा और मैं किसी बंदे से सेल्स में बात नहीं करूंगा ना मैं ये सोचता हूँ अगर मैं एक दिन सेल्स ना करूँ ना तो या फिर मैं शादी में जाता हूँ कहीं जाता हूँ तो आई फिगर आउट कि एक दिन मैं सेल्स नहीं करी मैंने क्योंकि माय सेल्स गाय एक्चुअली ट्रांसफर द कॉल्स की ऋतिक ये आपसे बात करना चाह रहा है मैं कराओ मेरे से बात मुझे रहना है भाई आई डोंट वांट टू गेट इनटू द ऑपरेशन साइड ऑफ इट बिकॉज once you grow the company, you switch to operations, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes you talk to people, you feel like, this is me. I really want to do this, right? But I lovely talking to you, Sukriti. Thanks for hosting us. Thanks for giving us time, right? On Sunday especially. And I'm really grateful. And I would love to spread your story to a lot more people around the world who can watch this video and who can learn a lot of things.
I hope someone derives some value out of it and makes the right decisions at the right time.
Absolutely, Sukriti. A lot of people will look at your resume and maybe look at your profile, LinkedIn profile, and would like, hey, she done so much, right? इतना switch कर रहा है इसने job को, इतना switch पे switch करते रहे. तो people will think कि अच्छा मैं भी switch करूँगा तो but you're telling that your husband is doing in the same thing industry के अंदर and he is living his good life, he's calm, he's doing well. So I always believe it's all depends on the people to people. You can't judge on the LinkedIn or you can't judge by talking to somebody on a call and like, hey, I want to be like him. Perfect. Thank you so much, Sukriti, for doing this. I'm really honored. I'm really grateful. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.